Production, Theater of the Imagination, proudly presents Extreme Gravity, the new radio play written by J.D. Evans Jr., starring Elvis D. Tripp and his traveling troupe of strange voices, and featuring the musical stylings of Milford Whittle and his finger puppet marching band, which soothes Monty's silly announcements by Warful the Potato. We continue with Chapter 2, Another World. Bakra stared ahead and still observed the same scene. He looked back and saw that the shiny black road continued behind him, just as it did ahead, where there were some tall mountains in the distance and a big river winding down from the mountains along the edge of the valley and then leading to a small lake just to the left of the stone castle. The light of the three moons reflecting on the water gave it a surrealistic glimmer. If he listened closely, he could hear a faint, low-pitched hum that appeared to be coming from the direction of the stone castle. There was a slight breeze, and the air smelled clean and a little bit like some kind of spice that he couldn't identify. Perhaps it was clove, or cinnamon, or cardamom, but not exactly. He looked at Suzanne and not quite consciously noticed the multicolored effect of the pastel moonlight on her blonde hair, an effect both enchanting and alarming in the sense that it sent him a subtle message that he wasn't anywhere he'd ever been before. Suzanne, how do we get back?
The same way we got here, Bakra. All we need to do is shine the laser pen on the Drost, and it opens a window that leads back to where we were.
Back to the asteroid, or back to the front observation deck? We don't have pressure suits, so back to anywhere except inside the ship doesn't do us any good.
It gives us the opportunity to return to the same place, so there's no need to worry about that. I tried it several times while I was wearing my suit, and it somehow remembers entry and exit points. It's really amazing when you think about it. As long as the laser pen works, I brought a spare and some extra power cells. We have a window to two worlds.
Have you been anywhere else in this world?
Yes. I didn't come here at first. I was inside the stone castle the first time, and I looked around a little. Then I walked here and went back through the window. That was a few hours ago, just before shift change.
Suzanne, how could you have had enough time to do that and not be missed? There must have been at least 10 people working near you in the mirror ring area. I don't understand.
Oh, that's the other amazing thing about the Drost window, Bakra. Whatever happens on the other side, in terms of time, doesn't appear to translate across the window. When we return to the ship, I am almost certain that so little ship time will have elapsed that Psi will still be setting up its action directives. I think Psi will be able to measure some amount of time differential, but nothing in any human terms. It's something like a ratio of nanoseconds to hours. That's why the work crew didn't notice I was gone. From their perspective, it happened faster than they could perceive. Actually, I went through the window several times, including one time on the ship, before you frightened me. I don't think Psi noticed either, so that's why I requested a total spectrum recording.
I need to think about this for a minute. We don't have any weapons, and this place may be very different in daylight. We don't know much about this world, do we?
Not a lot, but maybe enough not to worry about doing a little exploring. I think it will be night for longer than we are accustomed. I think one of the moons, the larger paled orange one, is another planet, and that means this planet is a twin. So the diurnal properties here are different than on Earth. If everything happens here during the day, then we have plenty of time to walk to the stone castle and see what we can find. I think it's safe, and I feel comfortable when the tiny flickering lights are around. They generate a presence that feels safe, like they are protecting us, and saying we should be inside the castle, not out here.
I think you're right, Suzanne. Let's walk to the castle and look around a while. I want to go back in about 2 hours, but I would feel better if we had some weapons. Maybe I worry about danger too much, but it's kept me out of some bad situations before. Stay close to me and be ready to open the window. If anything suspicious starts happening, we can always come back with the X-19 if we need power support. Agreed?
Agreed, Bokra. We've both been on the line before, and you know I wouldn't have brought you here if I hadn't checked this place well enough to satisfy myself that it was safe. Saber can use this window, and that has to be our first priority.
I know, Suzanne. We need to get more drones and determine whether they will synchronize on the same window. If they will, then we've found more than another world. We've found a hiding place. Dream 9 must not learn about this. That's going to be a problem, but I think I know a way to solve it. We'll talk about it with Sai when we get back. Of course, this changes everything, including the meeting with Kevin, and especially how we handle Darkstone. I think we may want to satisfy his curiosity and hope he is being curious for the same reasons we are. He could help us.
I think so too. I did some checking on him when he first came on board, Bakra. Did you know that he had family on Ranvir before Dream 9?
Yes, I did. He never talks about it, but I think some of his curiosity is really an attempt to find someone who can help. He fits the pattern, and Saber is the only help. Sai can run a correlation, and if it looks good, I think we can skip a few steps. Sometimes I think Saber is overly cautious, because there are times when it is appropriate to take chances. There is always the alternative, even though I am opposed to it. I've never had to use it, and I like being able to say that, Suzanne.
It's not a pleasant thing to do, and I don't like being able to say that. Sometimes we do what we must do, because too much is at risk otherwise. It's part of what we're fighting, Bakra.
Suzanne spoke the last sentence in an almost whisper, and her voice quivered at the end. Bakra put his arm on her shoulder and pulled her close to him as they walked ahead along the shiny black road. He wanted to say something, but didn't know what to say. To Suzanne, holding her close to him and being quiet had the same effect as the words she knew he couldn't find. They continued walking quietly on the shiny black marble road toward the stone castle. After a few minutes, they reached the top of the small hill and stopped. Bakra looked down and saw the road led to a bridge that crossed over a small stream that meandered down from the lake. The moonlight on the stream and the road seemed to highlight the area around the bridge, like the circling light drew focus to the stone castle. A few of the tiny flashing lights had moved from the castle area and were casually circling the bridge and the surface of the stream. Bakra noticed a safe feeling when he looked at the little light. Suzanne, were the lights circling the bridge when you walked back from the castle?
Yes, they followed me most of the way, but stopped when I got to the bridge. They don't always follow a particular pattern, but it appears they're waiting for us now. They have an unusual way of communicating safe, but I think they are telling us that it's all right.
I think so too. Maybe they're escorts or something like that. Let's continue toward the castle. It's not very far away now. Bakra and Suzanne continued down the hill, staying on the road, and came to the stone castle after walking about half of a mile. Looking up, they were impressed with the grandeur of the 100-feet-high castle wall. There were lookout towers at each of the corners, double towers on each side of the castle entrance, and they could see shorter towers inside. Although there was a moat around the castle and there didn't appear to be a drawbridge, the entrance was open. Except for the flashing lights, which Suzanne suggested they call protectors, there was no other light but the moonlight, which cast shadows of contrasting hues. The castle appeared to be made of some kind of dull gray stone, more like limestone than marble, and assembled in a beveled, diamond-shaped pattern. The towers were made of the same beveled, diamond-shaped stones, but the builders had varied the castle wall pattern by adding regularly spaced vertical columns at the shiny black marble at approximately 4-foot intervals. There was a horizontal border of shiny black marble at the top and bottom of the castle wall that added contrast to the design and connected the tower column to the rest of the castle. The road continued inside the castle and expanded to cover the entire ground level surface. There were some reflection pools, small towers, and entrances to other parts of the castle. Other than that, and some curious shadows, not much else could be seen from the outside. The protectors who had accompanied Bakra and Suzanne from the small bridge stayed with them instead of joining the other protectors who were still circling the castle. The faint, low-pitched hum Bakra had heard when he first walked through the window was a little louder now, but still not very loud. Bakra and Suzanne continued walking toward the castle and stopped when they reached the moat. The castle was no more than 50 feet away from them when they noticed that the protectors who had been accompanying them had narrowed the radius of their circling and were now almost close enough to touch. One of these protectors left them and joined the other group of protectors who were still circling the castle. After flying through the castle protectors in a sine wave, the protector who had just left their escort zoomed inside the castle, made what appeared to be a random pattern search, and zoomed back to join the escort. The castle protectors then split into two groups and formed lines on both sides of a straight path over the moat leading to the castle entrance. This maneuver was accomplished in a way that reminded Bakra of precision aerobatics, although it was performed at much greater speed. The protectors, who were now lined up on both sides of the straight path to the castle, changed color from bright white to glowing orange. When this happened, the surface of the moat changed from watery looking to the shiny black marble of the road, but with an added orange reflection coming from the protectors. The escort protectors remained the same bright white color but began pulsing. All of this happened so quickly and seemed so logical, while at the same time being totally unexpected, that Bakra found himself following Suzanne before he had even consciously realized they were halfway across the moat. This doesn't surprise you, Suzanne?
Not too much. It happened before, when I left the castle, so I was expecting it. It surprised me very much then, but not so much now. My reaction would have been very different if anything else had happened. It tells me everything is safe, Bakra.
What would happen if you shined the laser pin on the Drost now?
The window to the ship would open, and we could return to the ship. But that is not what we want to do. There is something inside the castle that you need to see.
Bakra looked at Suzanne and started to say something, but then decided not to interrupt their path across the moat any more than he already had. Suzanne looked at Bakra, took his hand in hers, and quickly led him across the moat, accompanied by the escort protectors. In back of them, completely out of their combined field of vision, a shooting star fell from the sky and disappeared behind the mountain. At the same time, two of the orange protectors changed their color to a muted purple, zoomed towards the mountain, and then disappeared into the distant horizon.
One, two, three. One, two, three. One, two, three.
thus ends the second chapter of Extreme Gravity, Another World. Stay tuned for the next chapter, The Stone Castle. This has been brought to you by the fabulously fabulous, marvelously marvelous, wonderfully wonderful science fiction theater of the imagination. I'm Warble the Potato.